This is Professional Launch with Ricot Aladin, positively connecting the less connected, bridging gaps, and building futures in the community. Professional Launch with Ricot Aladin.
Hello, professionals. My name is Ricot Aladin, and I am the founder of Professional Launch and the host of the Professional Launch show here on WDAY. Today, my guest went from entry level to owner level, leading the future of IMS in Fargo. Eric, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful, wonderful. Please tell the Professional Launch audience a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm a Fargo native. I grew up here, went to college out in Bismarck at the University of Mary. After that, my cousin was working at IMS, and they were hiring for an IT person, and she knew I was in IT, so she asked me to apply. Started there right after college, and have been there ever since.
Wonderful. You know, the show is about helping young professionals launch their careers. And so you went to school for computer science, computer information system, business, and finance. What drew you to choose that degree?
Well, I knew early on that I really enjoyed working with computers.
Okay.
My mother bought my dad, a computer way back in the day before lots of people had computers.
Mm-hmm.
So I got introduced to it very early. So we just enjoyed having a computer around, and I just enjoyed doing everything on the computer. Played video games, learned how the computer worked. And so after that, like when I went to college, I built my first computer then as my college PC. And I just always knew that I wanted to be in tech because I just saw that everything that we did, back then was technology based, and I knew it was only going to grow from there. So I knew early on that I really wanted to be in the technology space.
Wonderful. So, school is about to start next week. So looking back, what is one college experience that you think prepared you the most for the career that you have today?
Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay. Probably my internship with the state of North Dakota. I interned with NDITD, is what I believe they're called right now too. And so we went around the state upgrading a bunch of the network infrastructure. So we went to different schools, libraries, all over the state, just putting in new equipment, making sure everything worked. I think that experience really taught me the most, probably just with interacting with people. Mm-hmm. So you'd go there and you'd have to talk to the principals or whoever's in charge of the building, and show them what the new equipment is and how everything's going to work. I thought that was probably the biggest thing that I learned while I was in college.
Okay. So, a lot of students are going to college, and then some of them may not have an internship. What would you tell them? And based on the internship that you have and how it served you to go to your next role or maybe different opportunities, what would you tell them about getting an internship while in college?
Well, for me, it was a requirement for my degree was to get an internship. So I had to find one. Okay. But if you know what industry you want to go in, there's going to be people that are going to have internships available. So we've had people stop into our business just asking, dropping off resumes. And that's a great way to just get your foot in the door. So if you know companies in the area that are in the industry that you want to get into, stop by and just introduce yourself and ask questions. Do you have an internship available? Mm-hmm. That's a great way to introduce yourself. Plus, just it gives that company information about yourself to know that, hey, this person's interested, and we can reach out to them if they are interested in interning here. If we got a position that we can do that. So, but other than that, look online, try to find places that are offering internships. Talk to your advisors. Advisors are always well connected with different companies in the area, and they know who's going to have internships available. So I would talk to those people for sure.
Mm. So, what was it like stepping into your first role after at information management system after graduation?
I'm sorry, say that again.
What was it like?
Oh, what was it like? It was interesting to notice what you're taught in school versus what goes on in the real world. It seems very different for some reason. It was still stuff. Some of it was what I learned in college, but there was just a ton of stuff that I didn't know. And getting the real world experience early on then was really big for me. So I had to learn a bunch of stuff that I didn't know existed. So you're in school, we learn very specific things. There's the curriculum. You go step by step through the curriculum. But that's not always what it's like in, out in the real world working. So early on, I was just trying to be a sponge, learn as much as possible from the owner at the time. His name was Rick Johnston, and so I went whenever he went anywhere. I basically went with him. I just tried to learn as much as possible.
So you said something that we talked about a lot on this show is the education that you get in college and the real world experience. What you learn in college, sometimes you're probably gonna use 10 to 20% of it.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say to a young man, a young woman who is in college right now? Maybe they are a junior. What would you tell them about getting that experience if they have an idea of what they want to do with for a career? What would you tell them?
I think books are a big attribute and something that you can utilize to your advantage. People that write those books are basing their content on the real world and not on the curriculum in college. So in every industry, someone's writing a book about, their business and how they've grown it and what they're doing in their business. So that's what we find a lot in our industry right now too, is that when we go to these conferences, everyone's got a book on how they do things, and that's all great information for us to take back to help our business as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. So at what point did you realize that leadership and ownership at IMS might be in your future?
Well, that was actually pretty early on, surprisingly. So I started in October of 2011, and my business partner, who's also my cousin, started 2 years before me.
Okay.
And the former owner already knew, he had his timeline on when he wanted to retire.
Okay.
And I think we started in like 2015. We started this roadmap of like, hey, are you guys interested in owning this someday? And then what we need to do to get there. So, we took over in 2013. So we had, 7-8 years of planning. So we had a lot of things in place, and we took our time in getting there instead of waiting, to do it 2 or 3 years out, which I think would have been almost impossible to do. So I think having that conversation early on made it possible for us to do it.
Wonderful. So for those who may not be familiar with IMS, can you tell us about it, and also what are some of the services that they provide?
Sure. So we're called a managed services provider. That's the industry we're kind of considered. So we help small and medium-sized businesses with all their IT stuff. We don't do any enterprise stuff. Most of those people have internal IT people that they hire and utilize. And so small and medium-sized businesses that don't have that dedicated person to do IT, they'll hire us. So we handle the entire network. So internet comes in, goes to a firewall. Anything past that internally, all the computers, servers, the wireless, printers, anything that touches the network, which is most things these days, is what we are in charge of, what we are trying to secure, and what we make work for our clients.
Okay. What else do you do?
So besides the computers and the servers and stuff like that, but we also provide voice over IP stuff. So that's phone systems is the basic, acronym for that. We also do physical security. So we will install security cameras, do access control. So if you have doors that have locks on them that you want to use a fob to open them, we install and set up that. And then we do all the technical support. So anytime our client has an issue, they reach out to us and we solve that issue for them.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, since 2000, you started in 2011, is that right?
Yep.
Okay, so how has IMS evolved since you first started, or since you first joined the company?
Sure. Back when I first joined, a lot of our clients were considered what we call break fix. So that means something's broken, they reach out to us and we fix it. But now we're billing them for the time to fix that. Now we go into what we call our managed services, where the monthly fee that they're paying for includes all the support. So if something breaks, we fix it, but we don't bill them for any of that time. So now we're trying to be proactive in preventing issues instead of reactive and fixing issues and then billing them for our time. So we are more profitable when we aren't fixing issues. So we want to prevent as many issues as possible. And the big reason we do that is it's a better experience for the end users. If they're not constantly having to contact us because they're having all these issues, that means that they can do their job for what they were hired to do instead of constantly calling us and be like, hey, I can't print, or hey, the internet doesn't work. We want to prevent as many issues as possible.
Okay, so is that better for the owner of the company, the company that you serve, or is that better for you guys?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. It serves both of us, because if we're the owner of the company of our client, that means that their employees are doing their jobs, you know, whatever it is that they're tasked to do. And for us, it allows our company and our employees to learn and work on other things besides just putting out these, what we call fires. Can't print, can't access the internet, this application doesn't work. Where we can be like, hey, we can implement this new thing, then that will prevent this thing from happening. So we can work on more of those things. Okay. That's the big thing that we're trying to accomplish.
Right. So you now you co-own the company with your cousin. Who owns it before that? I'm sorry.
His name is Rick Johnston.
Was it a family member or somebody that?
Nope.
Okay. And from when you were talking about that, you mentioned that they start very early on after you came on, and they kind of groom you and mentored you and coach you on the process of buying that. Talk to me a little bit about the transition process when you guys start that, because it sounds to me within that process there is an aspect of it that seems as a mentoring process. You know, how do you own the business? What is it, and what does it take to run a business like that? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. I remember vividly the first conversation we had about this. It was very just out of the blue for some reason, but Rick and I were walking into Ground Round for lunch one day, and he just kind of brought it up. He's like, "Are you interested in owning this one day?" And I was just caught off guard by that, and I was like, "Yeah, sure, that sounds cool." And so ever since then, we kind of just started building towards it. And so what we kind of did, and I don't know if it was intentional or not, but just like small things started happening. You get more involved in little things, and it probably was intentional on his part, but when I first started there, I just did IT stuff. Someone had an issue, I fixed it. But then it started moving into, okay, now they're going to do this project with a new server. I want you to do that now instead of me doing it. So now I do the project work side. And then there's, having meetings with clients. And so I would sit down with the client with him, and we would go over different things like, hey, here's the stuff that we need to plan for in the future, these computers or these servers and this, whatever it is that we need to do. So then I started to become more client facing, sitting down in front of the owners or the decision makers. And then Kelsey was doing all the administrative work, the billing, marketing, all that sort of stuff. So we just kind of got slowly more involved in each part of it until, Rick was just kind of doing whatever he wanted to do the last year, basically.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So we're going to take a break here. When we come back, we'll continue with the conversation. But first, I want to remind everybody that Professional Launch is a nonprofit organization, and therefore we heavily rely on friends, on guests, on partners to keep our operation going. If you like the content that we are putting out every week, or if you like what we are trying to do here with Professional Launch, please go to professionallaunch.org/donate and see every way that you can support us. We greatly appreciate your support. We'll be right back. We are back today. My guest is Eric Erdmann. Eric is the co-owner of IMS.
That's correct.
Yes. So he's the co-owner of IMS, and he went from entry level to owner level. For some reason, I like this whole thing here. It's really amazing to see how from the very beginning at the company, from the very start, when you start, like a couple of years after you start, then that conversation began, and you were interested, and the person who owned the business before you was also interested. That is that that makes that possible. So, what has been the most rewarding part of leading IMS so far?
Well, today, my job is trying to be more of growing the business.
Okay.
I still do a lot of the IT stuff, just because we are still so small. There's 4 of us total over there, including myself and the other owner. We got another person starting next month, but we're trying to grow. We're trying to add more clients and support more businesses in our area.
Okay.
To me, that's the most rewarding, is going out and meeting new people and new businesses and finding out how they operate and how we can help them. I always enjoy learning what they have in place, and then the stuff that we can provide to them to help, maybe provide some better security or improve some operational efficiencies with their IT that they have in place.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, I know you have such a long time transitioning from, wanting to own, to lead the organization, to being in that space. So, what was for you the biggest challenge in doing that?
Well, when we decided we were going to do this, when we really got close to like kind of getting down to it, and you've had him on here, Trent Lee, we utilized him and his knowledge and his process with doing that transition. So then we could learn, figure out, all right, here's all the stuff that Rick knows and is the only person doing. How do we transition that to myself or Kelsey, and who's going to take that on? So we had all these things that are like, all right, Rick's in charge of, business development or client relations or, billing, all these things. And we're like, all right, we're going to split all these tasks off between Kelsey and I, and we're going to figure out who needs to own it and know how to do it. And then we would figure out, what the process was. This is how Rick does it. And now this is how myself or Kelsey will do it. So when we got to that point, that was like our biggest challenge of, me still doing IT stuff, but also then taking on more of the ownership role and all the tasks that are involved with doing that.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, now, what challenges do you see ahead for the company and the industry?
Challenges right now are really just kind of hiring. It's hard to find talent in our area. We had an open position that someone is filling next month that we didn't get a ton of applicants in our area. We had a lot from New York and Texas and California, and I don't think they realize what it is to relocate to Fargo, from those places. So right now we're trying to find people and retain the talent. It's always a challenge for us, is we got to be able to retain talent here as well.
So you couldn't find, what position were you looking to fill?
We call it our help desk, or support desk technician. So someone that when a client has an issue, they're the ones that are going to help them to resolve that issue.
Okay.
That's our biggest hiring hurdle right now. We get a lot of people that are programmers, and that's just not what we do. We don't do any software coding or things like that. So we got a lot of people that think that's what we do, but that's not what we do at all.
Okay, so I'm curious because one of the things that we do with Professional Lunch also is helping organizations find talent.
Oh,
and so whenever I hear that, and another part of our work is really encouraging those who are in college, telling them that this community has many great opportunities for them, and sometimes those opportunities may be unknown to them for some reason. And our job as an organization who is focusing on helping young professionals So we help make those connections, and this is why I ask, because if you are in North Dakota, we have 5 colleges here, 5 major colleges, 2 technical school, and then 3 major colleges here. We should be able to find some folks that can, at least even if it is part time, even if it is like if they're going to school, we should be able to find folks that can fill those positions. Um, and I know that for sure, because when I talk to them, this is we get the notion that they don't know, they're not aware that these opportunities exist. So
Yeah, and I think that comes to us too. Like we don't have probably a presence in any of the colleges, and so that's where we could utilize someone like you to be like, all right, well, here are the skills we're looking for. What classes or what curriculum are they taking at the schools to prepare them for the industry that we're in? So I think that's something that we could definitely utilize a lot more of.
Oh, yeah, there you go. So that's something we can talk about, a different time. So before we go into the next segment, which is talking about mentorship and team building, James, do we have time for it? Okay, so we're gonna at least go into it, and then we're gonna go to break in the middle of the segment. But mentorship, this platform, this professional lunch itself is about mentorship. It's about helping young professionals find mentors that can help them launch their careers, identifying things that they can do to really, even while in college, either find an opportunity, at least right after to find an opportunity. So this question, I probably ask it to everybody who come on the show. Did you have a mentor, or did you have any mentor who played a key role in your professional growth?
I would have to say Rick Johnston, just because this was my first and only job right out of college. I knew what I wanted to be in, and I got lucky in landing there. And I don't know, he must have just saw something that I was just interested in what we were doing, and he saw that, hey, maybe this guy wants to own this someday. And maybe I found the person or 2 people that will be able to, he can hand the business off and still have it grow. So I would definitely have to say Rick Johnston for sure.
Wonderful. And how do you think that Rick Johnson has influenced you or your professional growth?
Rick was very detail oriented.
Okay.
He everything was definitely done a certain way, and him and I would definitely butt heads on some of those things. But I think it was just the fact that he was so detail oriented, and that we're gonna have it done this way every time. And I think that's something we carried on, is that we have our way of doing things, and so that way when we hire someone and they're coming in to help, that anytime they're going to help someone with what we call tickets, they have an issue, it's broken, they need it fixed, that everything is set up the same way for our clients, so that they know we can quickly resolve an issue. So I think just staying detail oriented was a big thing for him.
So now, I mean, you probably never labeled that as a mentoring relationship, right? So in your organization right now, how would you approach mentoring your team to set them up? Maybe not to own the organization in the future, but at least to improve their lives, their career journey.
Right now, we're big into we hire based on personalities. What we're getting at right now, because the technical things we feel like we can teach. You might not know all the stuff, but if you are able to communicate with clients respectfully and help them resolve the issue and not be technical with them, talking over their heads so they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. We can teach you the technical side of stuff. So what I am trying to do more of when someone can't resolve an issue and they want to come to me for the answer is, I am not just giving them the answer. I am trying to ask more questions and like, okay, well, did you look at this, or did you go look at this? What do you think is the issue? Instead of just telling them what the answer is, I want them to be investigative and learn why something is broken and how they can go about fixing it.
in a way, you're helping them figure out how to solve the problem,
Right.
so that you don't next. It's not every time you just hand them the answer, but help them figure out how to go about solving the problem.
Exactly.
I really like that. So what you mentioned that you're not looking at you're not looking at the technical skill when you are hiring someone. You look at character. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So explain. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Um, yeah, we're trying to hire more on personality and character
Yeah.
more than the technical side of stuff. We're more of a culture fit is what we're trying to get at. We've had people in the past that just didn't fit with our culture. Their personality was either too strong or whatever it may be, but we're trying to figure out what personality fits with us the most. We utilize predictive index through Trent, and that gives us a lot of insight on how they like to communicate, how they communicate with us. And it's really hard to do, but to me, it's more like instinctual. When we're talking with them, you kind of get the sense of, all right, this person can talk respectfully to a client, and they, it's hard to explain really, but it's just something like when you're sitting down with them, like after 10 minutes, you're like, okay, I can see this working out, or I don't think this is going to work out. So that's
how much
kinda
of a
what we're trying.
gut feeling that goes into that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay. So again, this what we are doing here is to really help those who are launching their careers. What advice would you give someone who wants to find or build a strong mentoring relationship with professionals that they admire or they want to be like someday?
Well, I think you got to just reach out and talk to those people. If you know who they are, go to their office and ask, hey, is this person available to meet with me sometime? I just want to pick their brain about what they do, and if there's someone that can, relate with me on the things that I want to get into. Because a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, let's set up a meeting. Let's go have coffee. Let's talk about it and figure out, what you're trying to do and how I can help you. So I think just making yourself vulnerable, it's really hard to do. I struggle with it too still, is about, going out there and be personable with someone that you don't know at all. But if you can get past that fear, it's very rewarding on the other side.
Wonderful, wonderful. Past that fear. That's something that I try to almost force on the student that I talk to, because I say there isn't 99% of folks that are successful in this town would give you an hour of their time. Yeah, we're gonna take a short break here. When we come back, we'll continue with the conversation. We'll be right back. All right. Right before break, we were talking about mentorship, and during break, me and Eric were talking about how if you can get over that fear. And the example that I use from that is any student right now. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, I'm gonna tell you this. You can test me on it. If you can get over the fear of walking into any business and identify yourself, say, my name is so and so, I am in college, in my second year or third year, whatever, and then just tell either the owner or somebody from HR, I don't know what I want yet. I would like to see what your company does and see if this is something that I can see myself doing. 99% of the time, they will give you a tool. They will ask you if you want to shadow somebody, if you want an internship or something in that sort. Or if you are in college right now, let's say you are getting a marketing degree, for instance. You go to any company, you say, my name is so-and-so, and I am in my third year in college. I am getting a marketing degree. Here is how I think that I can serve, I can help contribute to your organization. You would not believe that. And again, you can test me on this. 99% of organizations, even if they do not have an opportunity for you at the moment, they would appreciate that and even be willing to set you up with someone who can help you find an opportunity. all you have to do sometimes is just get over that fear. And talking about that, Eric, and you mentioned the same thing too. Us trying to create that mentoring platform for young professionals to connect with experienced mentors in the community, this is what we're trying to facilitate. And sometimes it's not really is just sending that email or reaching out to the person on LinkedIn, and then the opportunities can come along. So we were talking about mentorship. What advice would you give someone? I think I asked you that question already, but what advice would you give someone right now if they are in college? They want to find an opportunity while in college. What would you tell them? For them not to wait after college to find the opportunity. What would you do? What would you say?
Well, I'm going to piggyback on what you were just saying there about, saying getting over that fear and just going out and introducing yourself to people. Not only with just the people that you introduce yourself to at that time, but those people are going to be like, hey, this person's showing initiative.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to know other businesses and other people in the area. They're like, hey, this person stopped in the other day. I think they would be, a good fit over there, for whatever reason, maybe it's whatever degree that they think they're interested in.
Yeah.
They'll be like, hey, so-and-so stopped in today. Can I have them reach out to you about, whatever it is that you guys do over at that business? I think if you do that, the more times you do that, that's just building your connections, infinitely. So you'll have way more opportunity that way to find someone that will help mentor you or find what you do love to do.
Yeah. And I forgot to add, when you go, bring bring your contact. Mm-hmm. It's so easy to make a business card right now. Sure. Easy to have somebody, leave your number, leave your email, and bring a resume with you, print out a copy of resume, and leave that with the person that you meet. And believe me, the opportunities will follow. And so, looking back right now, Eric, what would you tell your younger self when you were just starting at IMS?
When I first started, you're done with college and you're like, all right, I learned all the stuff I'm gonna learn.
Yeah,
and that's just not true at all. And you start out and you're like, oh, I really don't know much about anything at this point. And then just to realize that going in and be like, all right, I was taught a lot of things, but there's still a lot that I'm going to learn. And every day is still like that.
Yeah.
In every industry that you're in, things don't just stay how they are. Things change rapidly. And especially in our industry with the IT and technology and how quickly everything changes, you got to be open-minded about all the changes that are going to come. If you're going to be stuck and you always want to do something one way and not willing to learn that there might be a better way to do something, always just try to be open-minded about that, because it is going to change. Nothing's going to stay stagnant with any industry.
Oh, Eric, you mean to tell me after after college you're not done with learning?
Exactly.
I'm kidding.
Continuing education credits, there's lots of them.
Yeah, so a lot of students think that after they're done with college, learning stops. This is where it began.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
This is exactly where it began. So, what would be one mistake that you consider you made in your career, and what lesson did that teach you?
Early on, I was how I see a lot of technical people is that they are afraid of making mistakes, because if you make a mistake with some things in IT, it can have a large effect on a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if you're doing for us setting up a what we call a firewall to protect the network traffic, making one change in there affects everyone in the organization and how they access certain things on the internet, or even different stuff inside their network. So be willing to learn and make those mistakes, but also realize, oh, I made that mistake. I own up to it, but now I know what happened and how to prevent that from happening for other people.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, I mean, even the example that I used earlier is sort of it's a way to network for career growth. How important do you think it is, at least in this community here, where people are so welcoming and so friendly? How important is networking for career growth in this community?
Networking is huge. That's how you build your connections. That's how you meet new people. That's how you can find new business. The chamber is a great place to be. We try to go to the chamber events that they have every quarter. We actually make it a game for our employees. Like, you don't have to go, but if you want to go, we'll pay for your ticket to go.
Oh, there you go.
And then we'll make a game like, hey, whoever gets the most business cards gets like $100. So that's for them to be initiative and to go out and actually talk to people about what their business is.
Yeah.
And maybe there's some way for us to help them, or what happened to us is we actually found a business that we needed help from. They did accounting work. We're like, hey, we need some help with our accounting. So we hired them, and that's how we met with them, was going to the chamber event and just, being out there and talking to people.
Wonderful, wonderful. We're going to take another short break here. When we come back, we will continue with the conversation. We'll be right back. We are back. Today, my guest is Erdmann. He is the co-owner of IMS in Fargo here. We are so glad to have Eric here. But before the last couple of questions right now, I want to remind you that Professional Launch is a nonprofit organization. We really, really, really heavily rely on friends, on guests, on partners to keep our operation going. So go on to professionallaunch.org/donate and see every way you can support Professional Launch. We appreciate your support. Now, Eric, we have about 2 minutes for the conversation left for the conversation. So what advice would you give to someone who dream one day of owning their own business in the tech space? And I know that's probably a loaded question, but if you can just simplify the advice, that would be good.
Yeah, a very tough question. Let's see here. Gotta get started in it somewhere. So try to reach out to other business owners that are in the space and ask, can I shadow you an hour a month, or a couple hours a month? I'm sure that they would be free to allow you to do that. I think that's the best way to get your foot in the door anyways, is just reach out and be like, hey, I'm interested in doing this, and can I shadow you for a while?
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Eric, for being on the show today, man. It's a pleasure to have you. Hopefully, we will hear more about what you're doing with IMS, because you like 8 years in the organization now, or?
Yeah, I've been there for now almost 14 years.
Yeah, 14 years, but as owner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll get to hear
years.
more from you and what you are doing. Now, this is the part that I tell you, it's up to you to make today a great day. Have a great day. Eric, thank you again.
All right. Thanks, Rico.
Wonderful. This is our